Were you able to accomplish that goal? See? So when we have goals, no matter what age we are, right, you first have to have that goal, then a plan, and you'll be able to accomplish it. So what I just gave you were some financial flashcards. So with those flashcards, yes, they have different financial terms that kids and adults both can learn. I love the fact that we have both kids and adults because these financial principles apply to all of us. Sometimes when we're managing our money, we have to get back to our inner child, right? I remember when I was growing up, when my mom talked about money, we didn't have those fun conversations. So what we like to do is bring that fun conversation, that fun, engaging aspect to finances. How many people in here have set a New Year's resolution or goal before? Right? How many people's kind of exhausted with that? Like, who does that anymore, right? And some of the reasons why people don't do it is because January you have a goal, February you have no idea what it is, right? For me, I was like, I want my beach body, right? And then February came around, I was eating so much chocolate on Valentine's Day, it was crazy. But there were things that I failed in to have and make and execute that goal, which again, I'll talk about soon. So a little bit about me. I have 7 lovely children. Here are my children here. When I talk about managing money, like I actually help them do it. So my oldest is 14, my youngest is 4. So we have all different types of money conversations. From my son saying, what is money, right? Or me saying, let's set some goals. He's like, I just want to buy stuff. To my older daughter starting to talk about investing. How do you start to invest? What does that take? I want to start investing now, Daddy. And then all those other conversations in between. So one of the things I had to do was use my financial journey as a way to help my kids learn about money. So I'm pretty sure many of us in the room, if we've ever had money, we've made money mistakes. Those things we were like, why'd I do that? It was good in the beginning, but then now that I'm thinking about it, it probably wasn't the best decision. Or, you've made some money movements. I'm like, I'm proud that I made that movement or made that decision with my money because now I'm way more advanced than I was before. But a little quick story about my financial journey. So I went off to school, full ride, and then student loans happened. Credit card debt happened, right? This feeling of uncontrolled financial instability happened where I was just like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to live in debt all my life, right? I started to adopt this mindset of, yeah, it's whatever. But one of the things I was able to do is really think about my kids, right? And say, how can I help them avoid some of the financial landmines that I've stepped in? And a lot of that was through biblical principles. So I read Richest Man in Babylon. I looked at Dave Ramsey. I was like, I need to make this work, right? And not everything worked for me, but one thing it did for me was made me more aware, right? It made me understand like, dude, it's not everyone else, it's you, right? You are in control of your financial behavior. You know how much money you get, and you know what you like to spend your money on. So how can you make those things align? So what I'll quickly want to do today is talk about the new PPP method, right, to managing money. And then we'll create one financial goal, something very simple. We'll create one financial goal, and then we're going to identify ways to accomplish it. Because goals aren't goals unless you can identify a realistic way to accomplish it, right? I used to set these crazy goals and had no plan. That's why I would be upset. And not only a plan, I didn't have accountability. I didn't know who could support me, what resources existed. So then that goal just fell flat. So I'm here to help you learn, no matter, again, what age you are. How old are you? 8. 7. 10, right? 8, 7, or 10, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still accomplish your goals using this method. So really quickly, if you won $10,000, what would you do with it?
What would I do with $10,000?
If I just slapped it on the table right now, what would you do with it?
Probably save some and then pay off a couple of bills.
Okay. Save some, pay off some bills.
Probably try to invest or try to learn how to invest it.
Okay.
So that the money that I'm not using is working for me.
Okay.
I say that, but I know I would.
Being here's $10,000, what are you going to do with it?
I would probably
Okay.
maybe donate some.
And what's your name, sir?
William.
William. Dondre, nice to meet you. $10,000, all yours. What would you do with it?
We're in the middle of a kitchen renovation. I would get the nice cabinets instead of the lower ones. So,
Like, look, I'll go into a better investment. I love it. Is $10,000 a lot of money? Is it more than $1,000? Okay, so what would you do with $10,000?
Instead of buying candy and all that, I would just save up. And when I get older, I would feed my family.
I love it. Okay, I love that. Right, save up, feed some family. Okay, would you feed me? Okay. So I love your honesty. That's the one thing I love about kids. They're like, look, I don't know who you are. Is $10,000 more than $5,000? Okay, no. Is it? Yes, $10,000 is more than $5,000, but what would you do if I gave you $10,000 right now? How would you spend it?
I'll put it in the bank
Okay. Why would you put it in the bank?
because then I could save it for college and buy a car.
Okay. What's your name?
Levi.
Levi. And what's your name?
Josiah.
Josiah. Nice to meet you, sir. And what's your name again?
Hannah.
Hannah. So Hannah, $10,000, all yours. What would you do with it?
My dad would probably tell me to put it in the bank, but I would spend a little bit on something I've been saving up for, and then I would put the rest in.
So Hannah, I love your response because you said, Dad will say do this, but I would do these things as well, right? Because no matter what I tell you to do with your money, you're going to do what you want to do anyway. That's what we have to be real about. So again, when you're teaching kids about money, they're so honest because again, we have to step into our inner child. So I could say, no, you should put it into an IRA account, but once you get that $10,000, you're like, Andre was cool, but I need those cabinets, right? Those things happen. Matthias, what would you do with the $10,000?
I'm in the same position of Willie. I'm renovating my house, man. So I will probably use it to pay some of the things that I need to put in the house.
Right, so you're like, look, I'm trying to invest, right? Invest, right? That's the investor mindset. So everyone's responses were great, but no one said something that 99% of people don't even say either, which is they'll go to their plan or their budget, right? So what that means is you're waiting for $10,000 to do something that you should be planning, right? Planning out to do purposely, so no matter how much money you get, you can go to your plan. Because your plan, if you do it correctly, you prioritize your plan. This is what I want to do with my money. So no matter how much money I get, I'm going back to my plan. So when we think about planning, right, there's a lot of planning and purpose in it. When there's a wedding, typically there's a plan, right? We have to develop a plan so when we get our money, we help accomplish those goals. So think about that when we're thinking about planning. No matter how much money I'm going to give you today, you have to develop a plan. That's going to help you avoid a lot of financial landmines. And let's face it, a lot of people that win the lottery typically go broke in less than 5 years because they never had a plan in the first place. And if you tell them the plan, they'll probably ignore it anyway because when you get the money, it starts talking to you. Yes, through the leg and everything. It's just crazy. So some of the things or truths about money is money does not grow on trees, right? As a kid, I used to believe that. I was like, money grew on trees. My mom used to look at me like, no, it doesn't. I used to go out there and look like, I wish it did, right? But money does not grow on trees, meaning that money is a resource, right? So it can end for some individuals, and you can continuously allow it to grow for others. But it's all up to how you manage it. But with it being a tool and resource, it can also impact your emotions. How do you feel when you have money?
Great.
If I gave you $1, how would that make you feel? Happy, right? But if I said, hey, you need to give me $10,000 right now, how would that make you feel? Right? So we have to be real about how money makes us feel. But on the flip side, Let's say we went on a shopping spree. How would that make you feel?
Happy.
Right? Or if you were able to give money to someone, how would that make you feel?
Amazing.
Right? Because that's the power in giving. So being able to have money as a resource to give to someone should make you feel good. And if you give it to someone and you don't feel good, then you're not giving. But none of this can't be accomplished unless we understand some of the truths about money and we do our PPP. Right? You know the PPP out there, the PPP loan? I have a new PPP. The new PPP that I have is plan, prioritize, and pay. None of this PPP loan stuff, right? Let's change the understanding behind how we utilize terminology and what we do with that information. So plan, prioritize, play. First, you have to create a spending plan, right? The great thing about a spending plan versus a budget is it allows you to spend. Because I tell people this all the time. If you don't tell your money where to go, something or someone else will. Have you ever got paid and you look up like, where did my money go? That's because something or someone was telling you to spend that money. It could have been a friend. It could have been social media. It could have been your inner emotion. So when you plan, you are literally saying, this is what I want to do with my money before anyone else tells me to. So when you win the lottery, right, people aren't saying like, hey, can I borrow some? Or can you spend your money? Nope. You're not looking at those commercials like, man, now I can get that car. I can get it. Right? But then prioritization, right? Prioritizing needs versus wants. We're going to do a quick activity when we talk about needs versus wants. Do y'all know what needs and wants are? The great thing is she has a box of cards and they have little activities that talk about needs and wants. So you can learn that as well. But then when it comes to paying, I recommend paying in cash and paying on time. For some individuals, you may have to pay with your card as long as you pay. Don't be like me in my college years. I was just taking out loans and using credit cards like I just didn't care, right? Because I just felt like I'll pay later. No, pay now. Why pay later? So plan. When you plan, you decide what you want to do with your money. That's the great thing about a plan. You make a decision about what you want to do before it happens. We already know that there's power in planning. My other organization is 1428 Financial Wellness. And it's named after the scripture, Luke 14:28. Before you build a building, you must first count the cost. Right? So when Jesus was telling his disciples, he was telling them that there's a cost to discipleship. So because you know there's a cost to it, you can plan for it. Become more aware of what it takes to buy candy, right? Because sometimes buying candy isn't as easy as buying candy. You may have to do some chores. You may have to get some money. You may have to do some work for that candy. You have money?
Yeah.
How much money do you, well, I'm not going to ask you how much money you have. How do you make your money?
Getting it for my birthday or
And that's a job too. Getting money for a birthday or Christmas, that's a job.
and
So what?
he also sells like lemonade or something.
You sell lemonade too?
Yeah, he does that.
Oh, a little entrepreneur. Okay, I love it. So yeah, no matter, again, we know how to make money, but managing it is another conversation. My mom, she worked 3 different jobs to make ends meet, right? So making money for her came easy, but managing it was tough for her. And that's something that she can say now. So when I grew up, I learned how to make money. Like I can go and make money, and like I was making money in school, I was working different jobs. I worked at Hallmark. I worked for the college. I was just making money, but managing it, it's like, where's my money going? So those are things that we're really trying to help people understand and do now. There are 4 things that you can do with your money. I don't care how you get it, when you get it. You only have 4 decisions that you can make with your money. What are those 4 things? Yes. So you can spend, save, share, give, or invest. That's it. There's no other options. I mean, you can burn your money, but I highly would encourage you not to do that.